All right, guys, welcome to part 2 of our road update. As you can see, we've started adding a lot of greenery to the medians that are now in the middle of the main thoroughfare of the city, which is pretty much where the old median used to be. If you saw in our last video, replaced that with a new train track that runs down the middle. We went with the 9-volt track because we hate batteries. More on that in a minute. But we've since started adding our palm trees and various landscaping back into play. We're trying to focus some palm trees in the middle here. We stick to the design rule of thumb with 3 and some smaller ones in between. And then down at the ends of the medians, we're gonna do some smaller palm trees like we did in the old city, with some more greenery and flowers kind of next door. Still working on building those, so those will come at a later date. And then there's some other parts of the medians that'll need to be filled in as well. But we wanted to kind of get the central focus point filled in, which has been the focus for getting the city put back together. And we're really liking how it's turning out. There's also gonna be a new area down here with palm trees, and that's gonna be part of the median that ends right here. With that, we've also completed a lot more of the road work, and it's definitely taken a lot longer than anticipated, unfortunately. But we're just making sure that we're, taking it slow and getting all the details finished, the right way this time around, so we don't have to rip out the streets and do over as we build the city. So we're really trying to think clearly and make sure everything's thought out before laying down brick. Down here at this end, the intersection's still coming together, as you can probably tell. We're also waiting on some parts from Bricklink, some plates to fill in the missing gaps, as well as we need to finalize the mill plate system by building the sides of the road. So still a lot of work to be done down here. You can also see the comparison between the filled in track versus the standard 9-volt track over here. It's funny, 2 of the comments on the last video basically said that the dark gray, the old style, is the only option that we had, and therefore we had to do it. Well, this is incorrect. They actually do make 9-volt track in the dark bluish gray. It was in the final years of the 9-volt that LEGO came out with that, so that is available. But on top of that, there's also secondary and off-market brands like FX Track, which is in dark bluish gray that matches LEGO, and we will be using this in other parts of the city. But again, we chose the dark gray for this part of the city because we thought that it made a nice contrast. It kind of made the track stand out from the street. Otherwise, it would have just blended in a little bit more. So we thought that that made a lot of sense for what we were doing, but just wanted to call out that if you wanted to do yours in dark bluish gray, you could do it with official LEGO track, or you could do it with secondary market tracks like FX Track. But what I actually think is the most exciting part of the update is down at the other end, and that is where we've started to implement a curve. Now, we've had a lot of people comment that we don't do curves, or that they were wondering how we would do a curve, and this is it. So we wanted to show off exactly what we're doing and how we're doing it. Before I dive into the parts used, let me show you guys kind of how it's being planned out. You can see the median comes into a nice point right here, which follows the track line, and then also it swings around right here, essentially to create a nice swivel that then curves back around to create an ending for the median. On this side, we're gonna complete a bridge that'll go over the water. Definitely need to clean all that up, but you can see that it is finally starting to take shape down here. So obviously this is still a work in progress, and the thought process is that this side of the road will extend through. So we're gonna have a crosswalk on this side. This will all be tiled over. It's gonna be cleaned up. It'll look really good, hopefully by the next video. We're waiting on some parts from Bricklink. This side will continue straight, so it'll be a one-way over the bridge. And then on this side, there will be a new road going this way that will basically connect everything. So what about the curve itself? Well, these are not official LEGO pieces. And for a while we were LEGO purists. We didn't want to mix in anything that wasn't officially LEGO. But the problem is LEGO has not come out with a solution for both the curved road plates. As you guys know, we did a tutorial for curved roads, which hopes to kind of skirt some of those issues, but they also haven't come out with a good method for tiling railroad curves. And this has been something that a lot of LEGO fans have been wanting for a while, and unfortunately the LEGO group just has never really released. So with that being said, there are some people out there who have come up with solutions. And one of the best that we found is Trix Bricks out in Europe, who makes this pack for train curves. It only fits the standard train curves that Lego makes, so you're not going to find a solution for custom Lego track that uses a different curve diameter. But these basically attach to the train track and create kind of a tiled pattern that you can then replicate using real Lego bricks to extend beyond. We found this to probably be the best solution out on the market right now, although it's not perfect. It seems like it's made out of 3D printed plastic, and with that, it does not actually adhere to Lego bricks very well. We were a little bummed out actually by the connection. We thought that it should be stronger given the price point. So from a standpoint of being able to securely connect to Lego brick, honestly, it's not a very positive review. That being said, the overall look and feel of it, I think, is pretty solid for what you get. It comes in different pieces, so rather than all of these little squares being one, it's actually like big pieces that come together. And laying it out was a little tricky because it doesn't come with instructions, but you can kind of figure it out by following, the north-south parallel. But at the end of the day, this was the best solution that we found for the curve track area. We think it looks the best and integrates into our city. It also clearly matches or gets close to matching some of our other intersections that we've been building, so we felt that it was a good fit. But again, overall, I would kind of give this like a 3.5 out of 5 stars. I don't think it's the best quality off-brand Lego product I've found. It also just doesn't adhere to a Lego brick as well as it should. But the overall look of it, it feels decent quality, and for the price and what, the problems that it solves, I think overall it's a pretty good deal. So the next thing that needed completion was the median curve. And to do this, I basically built it out of 1x2 plates and 1x2 tiles, which then curved to create kind of that natural slope that follows the train track, to then kind of come out to this end curvature, which is then kind of built out of these curved bricks right here to end the median. Obviously, there's still some gaps to fill with green plates, and we have those ordered from Bricklink, so that should be coming soon. This pink one here is just kind of holding things together until it gets finalized over here. Now, another thing that we had to do while building this, especially with the non-Lego bricks that don't attach as well, we had to constantly test the track to make sure that the trains got around it. As you can see, the clearance above the track is quite low, and it just doesn't really seem like it's going to fit, even though it does. So going around, we were a little worried at first that it was all going to break apart, but actually held together pretty well. It was also incredibly important to make sure that the train not only fit around the curve part, but also through all the new greenery that we were adding. And truthfully, when we first started putting the palm trees in, it actually didn't fit, so we had to make them a little bit taller so that the trains would pass underneath. We also then decided to start adding back some signage, so we put the freeway sign down here. I think that's going to be its new home. We may add it back to the bridge, but we'll see. We also added some street signs here and there, and some other signs throughout, such as the crosswalk symbol. As you guys know, we try and make everything as realistic as possible, at least to real life. So there is just a lot of work to be done to make sure that that detail is upheld. Another comment that we saw, or actually a couple that we've seen, is that the bike path is too small. Well, for starters, this is the official bike path width that you'll see in a lot of sets, but we do agree we kept it this way because honestly we just ran out of space in the intersection. We are expanding the bike path into hopefully 4 studs wide, continuing throughout the rest of the city. So this is just kind of the final area where you cross the street, so it needs to be narrowed down, and where you actually rent the bikes, which is over here. Outside of that, that's pretty much been what we've been working on. It's a huge work in progress. As you can see, the city as a whole is still somewhat crammed out into that corner, but we're working to hopefully start setting skyscrapers here in the next 2 to 3 weeks as we finalize the roads. There's still quite a bit of work to be done, especially as you move down towards this end and then further back into the city, which will come next. But guys, that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't checked out the other updates, be sure to check those out on our channel. You can kind of see the city progress so far. But that's it for today. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next time.